What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Zachetology, round two. Fast season, fast Zachetologies. Let's get into it. All right, so the Mavericks annihilated the Lakers, and the Blazers annihilated the Clippers. That one was a little bit surprising, but I guess Nolan Price sucks. My only takeaway from the Clippers-Blazers series is that really slow centers like Nolan Price are just not good. I think a D flat is probably just the minimum quickness you want in a player, ideally. Or at least it's center. It's weird to say that because other positions are generally quicker, but it just seems like these F quickness centers just get annihilated. So Gamma's annihilated Price, Ciro locked down Roman. So for this matchup of the Mavs versus the Blazers, the Mavs are just supremely talented. Obviously, the triple combo of Morris, Carmichael Brown, and Wilt Nichols is just too much talent for basically any team in the West. So I do think they will roll. For the Blazers, a lot of their goods are in perimeter defense and that front court of Gomez and Santiago. Look, Gomez got to look good against Nolan Price, but he is not going to look good against Carmichael Brown and Will Nichols. He's at a size disadvantage. He's at a ratings disadvantage. And Gomez is like, although he's just not a top tier guy, he's a offensive player more than a defensive player. He hasn't filled out defensively. So I think what we'll see is just that front court beat down the Blazers. And it's like, yeah, you can get Ciro Kowango on Maras, but like, I don't know. Even if he stops him, the front court of the Mavs is just too good. I think Devon Santiago will look particularly bad and really tank the Blazers. So I'm feeling. Oh, I don't have the thingy up. Is it going to eat my screen? No, it's not. All right, sick. I'm going to take the Mavericks in this one 4-1. They cruise. Honestly, I think they'll cruise out in the whole West, but we'll see. Okay. Next, we have the Warriors-Rockets. So the Warriors won a nail-biter against the Supersonics. Really proud of that prediction because it went exactly like I said. The Warriors lost Seth Lee, and while Seth is a fine player, it doesn't really impact the Warriors outside of a few bench minutes. So not good for the Warriors, obviously, but not catastrophic either. The Warriors looked like the Warriors. The Sonics looked like the Sonics. It was how many times would the Sonics get the three ball going? They got it actually for only 2 games, and they kind of won one where they shot like shit from three. But they just needed one more game of great 3-point shooting. The Warriors won through consistency and home court. Rockets versus the Timberwolves, nothing to talk about there because the Timberwolves are terrible. The Rockets rolled. Now, what I expect in this matchup is sorry, I was bringing up. Okay, so the Warriors are going to continue to be the Warriors. I think the big question is whether or not Diesel will be able to be an efficient scorer. In terms of the quality of the Sonics front court versus the quality of the Rockets front court, they're kind of similar. The Rockets have like solid, interesting guys. ZZ is like, he's not traditionally athletic with that F strength, but he does have the C quickness, which is good. His ratings are interesting and solid. He's been getting a lot of minutes. He's highly likely to be the matchup. I still think Sylvain Delbecq will be the main center, although you could switch them around. Both of them seem like fine options to try and stop Diesel with. I think they're both, like barring an all-around star mega player, about as good as it's going to get. And I think Diesel will be kind of like he was in the Sonic series, which is like the volume is always going to be there no matter what because because there's no other scorers. I think the efficiency might drop a couple points. He was actually pretty good in the Sonic series. He was 62% true shooting. I think he'll probably drop to like 59%. But I don't think this is going to be like the front court that absolutely locks up Diesel. I think for the Warriors, you have Lejuda Tamer and Takashi Tezuka, who you have to match up against David Delval and Brasido. I think you want to get Lejeune against David Delval because David Delval is the meme 3-point shooter. I'm a big believer that you want a tall athlete against the meme 3, and then you want your actual good defender to be against Brasido, who's going to take a little bit of everything, which is Takashi. So, where Bryant will play his players, you want to assume Delval will be a point guard and Brasido will be a shooting guard because those are the natural fits. So I would play Lejeune at point guard and Takashi at shooting guard, even though that's kind of the opposite of what you would expect because Takashi is the better passer, Lejeune is the better scorer. But I think Lejeune is a higher volume guy, so he's more likely to, and he'll go off against Delval. Delval's just a trash defender. And Whether or not you stop Del Valle, who knows? And then on Bryant's side, like, you know, maybe you give more minutes to Henry Percy at like the small forward. That's really the only interesting thing, I think. Although it's not like I dislike Randall McClellan, but it's kind of one of those things where both of these teams run like no usage utility small forwards, and it's always kind of this weird thing when you have two of them facing each other. Like Paul Watkins is the small forward for the Warriors. Like you put Henry Percy against him, it's like Watkins gets turnovers, but does he play defense? Not really. So like that could be an interesting way to get efficient offense for the Warriors. Efficient offense for the Rockets. But at some level, I think these teams are a pretty even match. The Rockets. I'm getting these two mixed up in my head because the Warriors are above the Rockets on the freaking chart. The Rockets have home court, so I give them a slight edge. You know, a lot of it will, again, as we've seen, come down to the three-point shooting of Del Valle. It's going to be up and down. Like Del Valle, for example, against the Timberwolves, who have no good perimeter defenders. They do have two good-sized athletes, which maybe is a sign, but Del Valle had a bad series. He shot 39% from three on his full volume. If he does that for a series against a good team, that's actually going to be problematic. Like that's the type of thing that will throw a series. Will he do it again? Will the three-point ball be there? I don't know. It'll be there for at least a couple games. Will it be there for 4? It's a good question. I do favor the Rockets here. I'm going to go with the Rockets in 6, I think. Home court plus I don't know if I love the Diesel matchup here. This one could swing heavily. The Rockets are a 3-pointy team, and now they're playing a real squad. The Timberwolves were nobody. So I think we will get the top 2 seeds moving on, but the Warriors definitely have a shot here. All right, Bucks versus Wizards. Bucks steamrolled against the Cavs. The Wizards did steamroll against the Hawks. I think from the Hawks, the big letdown was the front court. Gustavo Estes did okay, but I got it all messed up. Gustavo Estes did not do okay. What got me all confused was that, so Marty Taylor moved to center, which was a move that I wanted to have happen and I thought would be good, and then he stunk up the game. 45% true shooting on 16 points per game. I mean, that's just straight bad. So I thought it was an interesting idea. I stand by it. It did not work as far as like, you know, Marty Taylor just... My hope was he would go inside and he would become more efficient. But although his chart got a little better by moving him to center, he's still taking one inside shot to one jump shot, and his inside percentage was pathetic at 50%. I mean, that's awful. And he didn't take that many more free throws, although that might have been more matchup dependent. All in all, Marty Taylor was a big letdown. He might just be one of those color bay guys who never really pans out. His problem is like he's going to take too many shots, and like he gives you good utility in the sense that he's a great defender, he's a great rebounder, but like he's such a drain on offense. It's like, can you make it work? I don't know. He'll always kind of be one of those in-betweener guys for that reason. Timmy Hamilton for the Wizards got a favorable ass matchup against Joseph Gendron, who's a midget, and still didn't look good. My point there, so Timmy Hamilton finished that series with a 56% true shooting. I'm not sold on Timmy Hamilton as like having taken the leap. And the matchup is only going to get harder now because he could potentially get matched up against Francois Santoro, but even Z-Money is a far better defender than Gendron just because he also gets steals and he's bigger and a better like athlete. So I'm concerned for Timmy Hamilton's efficiency. And the problem is the Bucks are better. Like Wes Eastwood will do well. Wes Eastwood has kind of like weirdly become worse. But I just don't, again, see the Wizards front court stopping them. Chuck could be interesting, right? So if Chuck gets put up against Z-Money, I could see Chuck doing okay. You just really don't want Chuck to get put against Francois Santoro. I mean, he's a beast. But you don't want Timmy Hamilton to get put up against Francois Santoro because Timmy Hamilton's going to take all your shots. I don't know. I just don't see how the Wizards win this. Timmy Hamilton is like, it's a fun experiment, but he's such a problem for winning in the playoffs. Like, I don't see how this series doesn't have at least 2 or 3 games where Timmy Hamilton takes 30-plus shots and is wildly inefficient. And they're going to lose every single one of those. And the Bucks are already a better team, even if Timmy plays fine, that I don't see the Wizards winning this. I'm going to go 4-2. I hate the Wizards. I want to go 4-1, but I'm giving Brian respect But the Bucks are really good. I expect them to roll. I think 4-2. The Wiz have home court. They're going to get the early home games. Maybe that helps them out. But yeah, I don't really see the path to victory here for the Wiz. Then we have the Celtics versus the Nets. The Celtics and the Hornets. After being told by Bryant that I forgot that Matty Grease was a Hornet and is a better player than Mobley, which I agree with, I may have amended my Celtics Hornets to be a 7-gamer instead of a 6-gamer, but it ended the way I expect. The Celtics looked fine, but like I said, there's something about this front court that just seems lacking for the Celtics. However, they match up a little better against the Nets because the Nets are a little more front court scoring driven. And I think you can get Claudio against like they're I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm going to just restart that thought. If you can get Claudio matched up against Wilford, I think that could be advantageous. I think Wilford could suck. But the problem that's going to bring the Celtics down against the Nets is that Olin Harris is almost certainly going to get matched up against Renee Snyder, and that's just a bad matchup. I mean, you can pray that Renee will chuck well. It's very possible he does. But Renee is just... It's fine if you have a midget against a 6'2 guy or a 6'3 guy, but Olin Harris is 6'8 and he goes inside, and it's just like... I don't see how that isn't the matchup that kills the Celtics. And the double problem for the Celtics is they don't really have a great other option. Like, you can shoehorn in a guy like Kostruiski Unorso, that guy, or Gil Benson, who are like these kind of like utility guard wing defender types. But then you're sacrificing the good passing of Renee Snyder and the fact that Renee Snyder is pretty clearly the second best scorer on this team. And it's like, do you move Renee Snyder to shooting guard? Now you have a midget at shooting guard, and it's like, you don't really want to do that because Demetri Smith is still a guy who takes the ball and will cook, and he's a good defender. I don't know. Renee Snyder seems like the big problem for the Celtics, and that's excluding the fact that just like the talent level of the Nets is higher. Wilford is great. Olin Harris is amazing. Shane Sullivan and Demetri Smith round out their front court or their back court, super well. So on the whole, while there could be some fun drama here, I don't think this is the team that will stop the Nets. I think the team that will stop the Nets will be the Bucks or maybe the Mavericks. So I'm going to be giving the Nets 4-2 in this one. So yeah, I think this, the Warriors, Rockets, Bucks, Wizards could get interesting. I don't think the Celtics, Nets, or the Mavs, Blazers will really go super crazy. But these are my predictions. Excited to see what happens. I'll catch y'all tomorrow for the final episode of the 2141 Zachetology series. Until then, toodles.